All right, guys. Jeez, gingerbread man, figure it out. 1 minute, next minute he's in a different box. This bird looks like he was scrapping. I don't know what's going on there. But let's not get off track, guys. Pair number 7. Oh, I gotta crouch down a little bit. All right. Pair number 7. Another exciting pair. Excuse me. And one I want to talk a little bit more intently about. Because sort of like the gingerbread man video, this one here is going to be a little bit more about myself and not necessarily the pair of birds, although I will cover the birds. But these two birds here are the reason I no longer handle pigeons. I no longer believe in handling pigeons because one of the biggest mistakes I made as a fancier or as a racer was handing off their parents. These two birds are half siblings off of the same cockbird. I handed out the cockbird because in my mind he didn't handle right. I don't even remember what I was looking at. I don't remember what I was handling, what I was feeling. I was going through the notions just like we all do. We look at tails and wings and eyes and all that nonsense. And he just didn't have what I thought he should have. And unfortunately for me, that bird has bred winners every single year he's bred. Including this son, he is my race winner from 2019. He won the money race 300 miles. For me, that is, again, his half-sister. She was from the year previous. Both these birds were put into my loft by the gentleman that I gave away their father to. So luckily enough, the guy was a real nice guy and put youngsters from that bird back into my loft. And again, even for myself and him, they have been breeding winners. This bird here I call Titan. He also has bred a winner last year or the year before at 180 miles. And it's one of the things I regret the most because, again, I fooled myself into thinking that I know what a good bird feels like, or let me rephrase that maybe. I fooled myself into thinking that I know what a bad one is, if that makes sense. We all follow this notion that if we pick up a bird and it has these things, the criteria that the pigeon peddler has shoved down our throat about how a bird should be, we automatically think it's either a good or bad. And none of that makes any difference once that bird is in that basket. And I don't mean to go off on the rant here, but it really does not. It does not. I think what happens is when a bird becomes a super breeder or super racer, we then handle it and we're like, oh yeah, look, it's got pin tail and it's got, the right eye sign and it's got the right wing and all this, because it automatically became a winner, right? So it became a winner and it became a good bird because of that, not because it had those attributes before that. If you want to find good racing pigeons, race them. If you want to find good breeders, breed out of them. That is the only way. Don't do what I did and fool yourself into thinking you know what a good bird is or what a bad bird is. You don't know until you try them. As long as they have good genetic material in the background, they come from winning birds or birds that have produced winners, do not handle the birds and think you know what you're looking at. If you are that guy who can pick a bird simply by handling it and it becomes a winner, then you've already cornered the market. You've already taken all the wins because you simply can pick one up and say this is going to be a winner or not. And I guarantee you there's nobody out there that can physically do that. Nobody out there that can come in here and pick up a bird and say this is going to breed your next winner or this one's going to be your next race winner. Nobody can. And because of that, I regret making that decision, handing off this bird. And here I am stuck with two youngsters that I'm trying to move forward with a line. And I don't regret necessarily having these two birds. I simply regret making that mistake. But let's move on, guys. That's enough of a rant on my part. This bird here I call Titan. He is a 300-mile race winner. He bred a 180-mile race winner for me the year before, or the first year that I bred him. So it would be 2019 or 2020. Man, it's been a blend of years now that I've been racing, so I'm starting to lose track of which birds. But I'll put it in the notations here. So nonetheless, he's bred a winner. She was one of those stories I like to tell a lot because she did very well for me in 18. I didn't win anything that year. I was struggling to figure out my feeding program. I was struggling when I put away my own birds and bred out of a lot of my. To be one of those good ones. Out of the top performances that I had that year, she was on those drops with 211, one of my best hens of that year as well. So I decided to hand her out to a guy that was starting. I said, this is a really good bird. I think she'll do really good for you. Mind you, I didn't have Titan at the time. So I wasn't going to move forward with a hen. I only move forward with the cockbirds, and I add hens from other proven cockbirds, if that makes sense. But nonetheless, I handed her out. I said, she'll do real well for you. Try her out. Give her a chance. I think you'll be impressed. And I believe 2 years goes by, and I come out one day, and she's sitting on top of my loft. And right away, I knew who she was. And I was super excited because now I have Titan. And now I thought to myself, now I can do a little bit of line breeding and see if it in fact is that cockbird, which I know it is because he's bred so well, and maybe breed something down the line off of that. So I called the guy I gave her to. He claimed he didn't have her, which I know for a fact I gave him. I gave him 2 birds that year. And then he mentioned something about possibly handing the bird out to another flyer in Ohio, a southern state of ours. Because when the bird came home, she was pretty beat up, so it doesn't look like she was in my area. She looked like she had flown quite a distance to make it back, and that's the story I love to tell because she'll never leave the loft, and if she does, it's going to be to somebody that I can actually trust. My only thing I ever mention to anybody that I ever give birds to is just give me the chance to get the birds back. If I give you a bird and it doesn't work out, he doesn't breed well for you, or whatever the case is, just offer him back to me before you just hand them out. Or worse, let them go and they have to figure it out on their own. Luckily, she made it back, and I'm excited to have her. But just, that's all I ask for. Just tell me that you don't want them and let me get the chance to get them back. If I don't want them back, I'll tell you, hey, move forward and, hand them off to a new flyer, or whatever the case is. But give me that chance. That's all I ask. So I was a little bit hurt at the fact that he didn't offer that back to me. She just kind of let her go or handed her out or whatever the case was. But I am excited to have him, and it's another pair that I'm excited to see how they do this year. Again, he's been a proven breeder for me. This is going to be her first year breeding youngsters because last year she didn't. So I'm excited to see what they do. This is a line bred half brother, half sister on the cock side. So guys, I'm excited. We'll see how they do. Pair number 7.